Hey everybody, it's Ryan again with RNG Products. Today I got to do a couple repairs to my Dewalt planer here, so I figured since I'm going to be taking the machine apart, I want to talk to you guys really quick about buying used machinery. Now this is the first planer that I've purchased and owned, and if you guys have seen some of my previous videos, you know I've got a pretty extensive background with various types of equipment. However, I'm always a little hesitant buying used machinery when I don't know a lot about the particular machine. And in this case, I didn't know a whole lot about this Dewalt planer. I've owned it for almost a year now, and I've done a lot of different projects on it. So I'm gonna reposition the camera, I'm gonna get working on this thing, and as I go through it, I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about some of the things that I learned while owning this machine for the year, and things that you could look out for if you're in the market to purchase one of these used as well.
Okay, so you've located a Dewalt DW735 and you want to go take a look at it. One of the first things I would highly recommend you do is remove these 4 screws from the top cover. This is easily done utilizing the supplied star driver. There's only 4 screws, as you can see here, holding this top plastic cover on. And just a solid piece of advice when looking at a used piece of equipment, if you encounter a seller that doesn't want to let you open up the machine and inspect it, I would highly suggest you just walk away from the deal right then and there. They should have no objection. Now this wasn't a deal breaker by any means, but it kind of gives you an idea of what kind of hammer and chisel mechanic owned this machine prior to my ownership. These 3 particular Torx heads had been stripped out, and somebody took a Dremel and actually turned them into a flat head. It's not very hard to just replace a Torx head bolt. So when examining a machine like this, just take a little time, rotate that cutter head, and make sure there's no funny business going on with the hardware or the blade clamps. Now would also be an excellent time to check the condition of these blades. You cannot resharpen these blades. Once they're worn out, you can flip them to the other side, and once that final side is worn out, you will be replacing them, and they cost about $50 for a replacement set. So check to see the condition of the blades and use that to your advantage to barter the price down a little bit if the blades need to be replaced. Now let's have a look at the front of the machine, where you will notice this nice big lever. The Dewalt planer comes with 2 speeds. You have a finishing pass and a roughing pass. However, when I got my machine home and I tried the roughing pass, I could not get that lever to engage. So back to the top of the machine we go, and as you'll see right here, when I twist the lever, it was not fully engaging. While staring at this mechanism while scratching my head, I noticed what appeared to be some red nail polish, which triggered a thought. I went back to the stand and noticed that exact same red was all over the outside of the stand. What I had originally thought was nail polish turned out to be red epoxy, and some goober had managed to spill that epoxy down inside that mechanism, which was locking everything up. I simply had to take a small little chisel and clear that epoxy out. Problem solved. I recently noticed a strange rattling coming from inside the machine, and a short time later my in-feed roller stopped working. Time to investigate. You'll need to remove the side cover, and once again this is held on by 3 Torx screws, and of course on my machine, as you can see here, somebody has lost a Torx screw and replaced it with some random hex. You will also notice some more of that lovely red epoxy. With the cover removed, I was able to identify a couple different problems I had. The large nut holding the pulley on was completely missing. The belt had slipped halfway off of the pulley, and one of the drive mechanism's gear had completely fallen off. Luckily, all 3 of these items were a simple fix. I ordered a replacement nut, tightened down that pulley, readjusted the belt, and put a drop of blue Loctite on that Allen head that holds that gear in place. As you can see right here, the drive gear has a keyway, and when the hex head fell out, it allowed that gear to rattle. That was the sound I was hearing. And as you can see, this is a very simple process to remove the side cover and take a look at that pulley, the pulley belt, and the drive gear mechanisms, just to make sure there's no major issues there.
Well guys, since I've already got the camera out, I might as well give you an overview and cover some of the pros and the cons of this particular machine, just in case some of you out there are trying to decide whether to purchase this unit or not. Now, if you don't want to hear me talk for the next 10 minutes about the features of this machine, yes, 2 thumbs up, it's a great machine, go buy it. Now, for those of you that want to know some of the pros and the cons, let's jump right into it. I'll start with the pros, things I like about the machine. Price point, it's very affordable. If you need a planer, it's an invaluable tool to have in your shop. All your big box stores carry them, so you can run down right to the store, you can buy one. Runs on 110, 120, single phase. Now, as far as I know, this is DeWalt's newest unit they have on the market. This is the DW735 model, and mine does have the in-feed and out-feed tables. So if you're looking at one of these units, I would highly recommend you get the in-feed, out-feed table. Planers are notorious for having snipe, and to be perfectly honest with you, I would never complain about snipe on this particular machine. I've had no issues with it. I've ran longer boards, and I've ran shorter boards, and I've never had any issues. I've even ran curly maple through here with really good results. So while we're talking about the cutting head, this does have the straight blade cutting head on it. You're gonna have 3 blades inside here, and they are double-sided. So once one set wears out on one side, so you can just take this plastic cover off right here and flip those blades around and have a whole brand new set. Now let's talk about those replacement sets. Those are going to cost you $50 for a replacement. Now, some of the complaints that I've read online, and I can kind of attest to it, is the straight blades tend to wear out really fast and they can chip very easy. So anytime you're feeding your lumber through here, you want to make sure it's nice, clean lumber, and I definitely wouldn't want to run any type of pallet wood through here unless you're absolutely certain it's really clean wood. And I also don't have any first-hand experience with this next complaint, but I have read about it quite a bit. the inconsistency of the replacement blades. I've heard some folks have bought a set of replacement blades and it only lasted half as long. So with that being said, that's something you got to take into consideration. What type of wood are you feeding through the planer, and how many linear feet do you plan to use, run through here every month? So before you start buying a bunch of replacement blades, here's something to think about. I'm going to upgrade to the Helix helical cutter head, and it has a hefty price tag. It's $379, I believe, retail, and adding that on top of the price of the planer can get expensive. Now, luckily, as you guys know, I picked up this one used, and I think it was about $400, like I said. Now remember, the Helix helical cutting head comes with carbide indexable inserts across the entire cutting head, and if you damage just one of those inserts, you can remove the set screw and rotate it, and you're back in business. If you're lucky enough and you don't damage any of those, I've heard of people getting a complete year out of one side. You can loosen all the set screws, re-index the helical head, and you've got a whole new cutting set. And again, they're square carbide inserts, so you've got 4 different cutting heads on it. Even though the initial price point's a little heavy at $379, I ultimately think that's the best way to go if you're happy with this machine and you don't need a wider capacity machine. By the time you buy some replacement blades, you've already bought the Helix cutter head. So if you plan on keeping this thing long term, I would recommend upgrading to the helical cutter head, which is what I'm going to do as soon as this last set of blades wear out. Now, I did talk a little bit about the width on this unit here. When I initially started looking, yes, I wanted a 15-inch planer, but that led me down the rabbit hole of needing 220. Now, as most of you know, I've downsized to this smaller shop and it's wired for 110 right now, and I do have enough power in the panel to wire up a 220 single-phase receptacle, but I didn't know my needs at the time, so it was more of a what do I need versus what do I want, and I wanted a 15-inch, but I didn't really need it at the time. So I went ahead and picked up the 12-inch, and it's done everything I've needed to. It's a fantastic machine. Some of the minor complaints that I hear about, the dust collection port here, it's kind of in the way, and the hose always gets hung up on your lumber coming out. But again, guys, come on, this is common sense. That's something really simple. If you don't like that, you can put a 90 or a 45 or just rig up a way to get your hose away from the outfeed table. Really simple. That's just a minor complaint. Now, this is a belt-driven model, and as you guys saw when I took it apart where the belt was, really easy to change. I know they sell replacement ones on Amazon, as the Dewalt factory replacements are a little expensive, but again, that's hit or miss. I don't have any experience. I haven't had to replace my belt yet. I almost forgot to cover this with you guys really quick. This thing is a hungry beast, and it's gonna devour anything you throw at it, and it's gonna make it rain with sawdust and wood chips like you wouldn't believe. So luckily for me, I do have a dust collection system in my shop, and I'm able to contain most of the debris coming out of this thing. Now, if you don't have a dust collector and you at least have a shop vac, I would highly recommend you find yourself some form of an adapter. I believe this is a 4-inch. Get some type of a fitting so that you could at least hook it up to your shop vac. Because I'm telling you, this thing gets crazy with the wood chips, and you'll be pissed having to clean your shop up if you forget to do that. So all in all, guys, other than me having to fix some of the things that a hammer and chisel mechanic had done to this thing prior to me owning it, I've been really happy. I wouldn't really recommend buying the Dewalt factory stand. I think it's pretty pricey for what it is. It only swivels one way. It's kind of a pain in the ass to move around. So just build your own stand for it, or if you can find a good deal on the stand, go for it. So at the end of the day, guys, like I said earlier, 2 thumbs up. I have no problems recommending anybody pick up this machine. Price point's great. It works phenomenal for a home hobbyist. Obviously, this isn't a commercial grade machine, and this is not a commercial shop, so it's been able to handle everything I've thrown at it, and really love the machine. Got no complaints. It's a planer. It gets the job done for me, and I've been really happy with it. So thanks again, everybody, for the support. If you're new to the channel and you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now, and don't forget to click the bell icon right next to it so you don't miss my new uploads. And for those of you that are already subscribed, if you want to do me a really big favor, smash that like button. Go ahead, right there, I'll wait for you. And in all honesty, guys, when you hit that like button, it really helps get this video shared, which in turn is going to allow me to grow this channel and keep bringing projects and content like this your way. And as always, guys, thanks for watching, and we will catch you on the next video.